Fallout has a deep and expansive lore. You probably knew that already because, well, you probably play the games or watch videos on the games at the very least. Well, in today's video, I actually want to share with you 3 sad stories from Fallout 4, things that you don't necessarily encounter. There are plenty of sad events that occur through the main story of the game, but there's a lot of other things that you could just pick up as you stumble upon certain unmarked or hidden locations. Many of these are done through terminal entries, and if you're like me, after playing the game for so many hours, when you find each new location, you don't read through all the terminals, whether it be because your hacker perk is not a high enough level or you're just lazy. Well, as you could probably guess, in today's video, I basically want to share with you 3 stories that you can find after exploring the Commonwealth that are actually pretty sad. And to be clear, that's not like clickbait or exaggeration or anything. The 3 stories I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video were genuinely sad. Like, after filming this and going through all the different quests and logs and things like that, I felt a little bit sad. I actually was going to do more, but after doing 3, I was like, I feel like that's enough for one video. They're definitely in-depth enough, and you know, if you guys do want to see another iteration of this, there's definitely a lot more sad tales or tragic tales out there, and I can show them to you. So let me know by leaving a comment down below if you want to see a follow-up episode. Obviously, wait till the end so you can see this one first. Also, if you guys do want to leave a like or a comment on this video in general, that helps with YouTube's internal rating system and it'll promote it for other people to see. But with that, we'll just jump into the first story. So this first one, some of you may have heard in the past because there was a popular Reddit thread actually promoting it as one of the saddest things they found throughout the game. I just kind of stumbled upon that as I was making this video. I actually knew about this and already had it on my list, but either way, there's probably a bunch of you guys that have never heard of Edwin or Edwin's home. Edwin's home is basically going to be a little shack around a lake. He was a fairly normal guy after the bombs fell, living in a shack with his companion Bess. He obviously moved from a previous location and kind of just found this as an open shelter for him to reside in, and again, Bess was his companion Brahmin. And the two without a doubt had a bond. So much so that some of the blood bugs and stingwigs in the area were bothering Bess and kind of injuring her, so Edwin actually set up this little electrical trap to take down some of those bugs. As you do stumble upon the house, there's going to be a ton of bugs all over the area. I also am a very high level, so that kind of factored in, but just in general, there's a lot of enemy bugs around here. Well, Bess was not Edwin's only love. He actually had another one, that being Anika, who unfortunately died many years prior to Edwin actually moving into this location. Fortunately for Edwin, though, he had a memory of Anika through a locket with a picture of her inside of it. He kept it immensely close to him, and even in this post-apocalyptic waste, he had something to treasure and something to care about, outside of, you know, just Bess. Well, unfortunately, one day, as he was sailing about or fishing on that lake near him, I imagine it gets pretty boring when there's no electricity or anything to do. Unfortunately, after being attacked by bugs, the boat actually tipped over. Fortunately for Edwin, he managed to swim back to shore and was largely okay. He took down the remaining bugs, but then soon came to the realization that he had lost his locket. His prized possession was now gone, but he had a pretty good idea of where it was. Obviously now at Edwin's home, nobody is there, there's a ton of bugs, but otherwise Bess is dead and Edwin's seemingly missing. Well, if you swim to the middle of the lake underneath the upside down boat, you actually find Edwin, who swam down to the middle of the lake to retrieve his desired locket. Whether the radiation got to him as he swam down or just years of being malnourished made it so he couldn't actually swim back up, Edwin did unfortunately die at the bottom of that lake. And then obviously his pet Bess, not able to fend for herself, was taken out by the surrounding bugs, who you could find feeding off of her as you do approach the location. The wreck of the FMS Northern Star is something you've seen a ton of times in my videos. It's my go-to location when trying to show off a new mod where I have to take down certain enemies. I have literally been to this location countless times and spent many hours of in-game time here, but I actually never knew the backstory behind it. One thing that really stands out about this is all of the people on this boat are labeled as raiders, but they're not traditional raiders. They actually all speak a different language. It's also important to note that despite all of these guys being labeled as raiders, they're all ghouls, which is something you don't see all that often. Many of the raiders are humans in Fallout 4. Well, unfortunately, the backstory of this one is a little bit more dark. The FMS Northern Star was actually a boat that was docked at Boston before the bombs fell. As the bombs did fall, naturally the weather conditions and things just took a turn for the worse, and it was beached and unable to actually move out of that place. That language they are speaking is Norwegian. A few of the things they are saying in that language as you do attack them are, "You shouldn't be here, go away from our ship and leave us alone." They're not typical raiders. They're not attacking you or after you. They're actually just trying to defend their own land, which you're encroaching on. What really happened here is basically after the bombs dropped and radio communications were shut down, they were beached, but they couldn't communicate with any of the surrounding peoples. Obviously, everyone in Boston spoke English. So naturally, as people approached them and found these foreign armed people that didn't speak the same language, they became enemies and they had to fight one another. You can only imagine these guys, over the hundreds of years they've been here, have had to take down various different humans as well as other enemies, ranging from different creatures and animals. A ton of mirelurks are found on the underparts of the ship, and it seems like basically the surrounding peoples just labeled these guys as raiders because they couldn't understand what they're saying. And those on board the ship actually just became accustomed to killing anyone that came near because they were so often getting attacked and they probably just got sick of it. It really is a sad story. A group of shipmates that were ghoulified once the bombs dropped and couldn't communicate with any of the people around them, so they kind of had to fend for themselves on their once working but now unfunctional boat. Last but not least, we do have the backyard bunker. This is going to be a location within the West Everett Estates. This is basically some place you'll stumble upon and find just a ton of super mutants. And I mean a ton. There's about 10 to 15 super mutants in here, which is actually a lot. It's one of the most well-populated locations in the Commonwealth. Upon going inside, you basically find what was supposed to be another sanctuary. They were building this up before the war, but then obviously people following the bombs dropping did actually start to rebuild it and create it as a little fort or base of operations for just survival. After clearing out some of those super mutants, you could actually find a bunker. That is the backyard bunker. Down there's actually a terminal with a few different entries. What you find out is a dad and two sons made it into the bunker. Unfortunately, they did have a mom, and the mom did not make it. The dad, working for MedTech, rushed the sons out of the Malden Middle School and actually made it to the bunker on time, but their wife was working somewhere else and he didn't have time to go searching for her. Then of course the bombs did drop, and despite this, he never lost hope. Within the bunker, he actually has a ham radio with a distress signal saying, "We're here, we're alive, and we hope you could come here."
Bonnie, honey, if you're able to hear this message, the boys and I are safe at home in the bunker. I pray you're still okay. I want to be out there for you more than anything, but people here are relying on me. I can't let them down. Boys say hi, and they love you. Old Miss Chapel says hi too. I love you so much. Please, come home.
This has been a pre-recorded message.
As you follow the terminal entries of just some of the miscellaneous things they were doing, you find out that months go by and the wife never returns. Even beyond that, just by the state you actually find this location, you realize they couldn't have survived. Super mutants obviously took over this and killed all the different inhabitants of this place, despite there being some people trying to rebuild this location into something that's more sustainable. And even beyond that, the little building that surrounds the backyard bunker has 3 human skulls bolted to it. You can only assume these are the skulls of the 2 sons and the dad that once resided there. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. These are 3 tragic tales from Fallout 4's lore, all through hidden locations, terminal entries, and things like that. Again, if you guys want to see more content like this, there's a ton of other hidden tales or tragic stories through Fallout 4 that I have been reading about while doing the research for this video. I'd love to do a follow-up, but I want to know if you guys are interested in seeing something like that. So let me know by leaving a comment down below saying like, yeah, I want to see another episode. As always, again, and thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you didn't know about any of these, or maybe only knew about 1 or 2. But with that, I hope to see you guys all next time. Later.